This week's Parsha, introduction, Ve'ela Shemos Bnei Yisrael Haboim Mitzrayim. These are the names of the Bnei Yisrael went down to Mitzrayim, and the Torah tells us all the names of the 12 Shvatim. And then it says there were 70 people who came down to Mitzrayim, and Yosef was there in Mitzrayim. Vayomos Yosef v'chol echad v'chol hadorehu. And Yosef passed away, and all the brothers, and all that generation. Uvenei Yisrael, next pasuk, they were fruitful, they multiplied, they were very strong, the whole world was filled. This is the introduction of what the Torah is telling us. The last generation all passed away, which is, looks like a sad thing to say that it's all gone, over with, we don't have them anymore. In the same breath, the Torah is telling you, but the Bnei Yisrael, they were tremendous fruitful. And the pasuk goes on and says, Vayokom melech chadosh, a new king came, and he came, and his idea, he wanted to destroy him and his people, to destroy the Am Yisrael. And the pasuk goes on straight away and says, in the way he, to the degree that he was afflicting them, that's how they multiplied. From one end, he was trying to be very difficult, and from the other side, we see how they were becoming very fruitful. Then the Torah goes on and tells us that Pharaoh told the midwives to kill all the children, and of course, but they didn't listen. Then it tells us, the Torah tells us about the birth of Moshe, and he was brought up in Pharaoh's house. And then it says that Pharaoh wanted to kill Moshe Rabbeinu, and he didn't succeed. And then the Torah tells us how difficult the Yidden worked, the Jews worked. Vayonchu b'nei Yisrael, and they sighed. Vayizokhu, and they cried to HaKadosh Baruch. Then the Torah tells us that Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, go and tell Klal Yisrael, go and get all the elders together and tell them I'm going to bring the Geula, I'm going to bring the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. And Moshe says, answers back, Hem lo yaminun, they're not going to believe me. How are they going to believe me? And Hashem says, Ato Sira, now you will see that they're ready for the Geula. And Hashem brings them out of Mitzrayim. It looked as the generation, the Dor, without any hope. They lost all the Gedolim, they lost all the Zkanim, that generation went. That was the first thing that Torah tells us. The new king was trying to wipe them out until they wanted to kill all the people, they wanted to kill Moshe Rabbeinu, to the degree that they came Vayanhu, they sighed, they couldn't anymore. Until Moshe Rabbeinu came to the degree and said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they're not going to believe me. If I tell them that you told me that they're going to go out to Geula, they're not going to believe me. And why are you being Loma Harayosa? Why are you being bad to these people? And it was just the opposite. All these things, all the difficulties that happened, that was the cause of them, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to bring the Mashiach, to bring the Geula. Hashem wanted them to feel what's missing, to feel that they can't anymore, to feel the sign, to feel the difficulty. And that's what Hashem wanted in order to prepare them that when He brings the Geula, they will appreciate, they will understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all about. If we look in today's generation, it's different, but we find many things which you can learn from these psukim. From one end, we find all the difficulties that we're going through in today's generation. The difficulties in Parnasa, in making a living, the struggles in Shalom Bayis, the struggles in bringing up children, what children are going through today. Forget about what we parents are suffering, what the children are suffering. The exposure, they're exposed to everything. A child is 10 years old, 12 years old, he knows everything about everything. What dangers that causes. All the difficulties that are happening. That's from one end. And the sufferings, the health reasons, the tragedies. It's not what we're going through. from the other end we see how much good is going on, how much beautiful generation is going on. The learning Torah, the thirst of learning Torah has never been for hundreds and maybe thousands of years like we have a generation today, of a whole generation, of thousands and tens of thousands of people are learning Torah, are being most nefesh to try to connect themselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You go to the shuls, even the shtiblach, you'll see how people are davening with sincerity and trying, everybody on their own level, doing their own things. There's kimat no home in Klal Yisrael who's not doing some chesed somehow. How much chesed is where you go to anywhere, everywhere, I need something, medical, panosa, everybody's trying to help. Everybody's trying in their little way or in their big way to do something to help the generation. From one end we see the difficulties, and at the same time, which seems no connection, but of course it is, we see how the more the difficulties, the more times that we're going through, our Zkanim are leaving us, the difficulties in Panosa, the difficulties of children, upbringing, chinuch. At the same time we see how hundreds and thousands of people are coming back and learning more Torah and davening quite nicely and chesed. It's unbelievable. People get the wrong understanding, and one has to look to see the positive side in everything, to see what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking about in our generation. Not despite all the difficulties, with all the difficulties. People think, I don't have this, I don't have that. He stops davening well, he stops learning, he thinks there's something wrong. He thinks that he thinks that it's not going okay, it's not working. It's just the opposite. Hashem wants the person, when a person feels I can't and I need help, and he thinks I'm not worth it, and who am I? Why does Hashem listen to me? That's who Hashem wants. Hashem wants the person who realizes that I can't do it myself. I'm not able. Like in time Mitzrayim, they came to Vayanchu, they sighed. It was a give up time. They couldn't anymore. That's what Hashem wanted. That's when the Klal Yisrael will be worried to the Geula. And we don't realize that every little effort I'm putting, another Seder Limud, another bit of learning, another bit of davening, another bit of tilim, another bit of chesed, another giving up my sefer shalom bayis to give my from one for another to show my love to the other side, bringing up the children, putting the effort, putting another thing, helping the child to go on its right day. That is what Hashem is looking for. If Hashem made the generation like that, it's meant to be like that, and that's going to be what's going to bring us to the Geula. We know that the Nevi'im said that they didn't want to live the time before Mashiach comes, because they knew how difficult it was going to be. We are the chosen people who are living in this time. We are chosen from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we have the kelim to be able to go through this generation, this difficult time, and just the opposite. Because we feel the strain and the difficulties, and because of that get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is going to be what's going to bring the Mashiach as Hashem. We should all be zocher to understand how Hashem is handling us, and not to take it, always look positive, and always see to see the good in everything, and what does Hashem mean, and try to understand the Derech Hashem, and we'll all be zocher very soon to the Geula Mashiach.